And finally, we have formatted output. Again, I always feel like I want to provide you with something that would be a rationale that you can go, oh yeah, okay, that makes perfect and good sense to me in a modern sensibility. And with formatted output, I just can't frickin' do that. And I'm as disappointed as you are that I haven't yet been able to find that magic bullet that, like translates, college kids in the 70s with their understanding of code, how that impacted how formatting should happen in the 90s. And then 30 years later, how does it translate to you learning Java for the first time? And we just haven't stumbled across that Rosetta Stone just yet. And I'm sorry. So we'll just take a couple of looks at this and we'll see how we can use that printf to our advantage as long as we memorize its little quirks. So here I've got a bunch of doubles, both declared and initialized. So you'll see I have 3 points of decimal value in there. Just so that I can cut it off at some point. But it was, frankly, an arbitrary choice on my behalf. So let's suppose that I want to display each one of these variables in a field that has 8 characters of width, and that will display 2 decimal places. So how would I do that? So inside of my printf, remember the printf is the difference between print and print line. Printf is for print format. We would have 2 things, at least 2 things. Here, I'll start with the easier side. After the comma, we have what are known as our arguments. Our arguments, num1, num2, num3, num4, our arguments slot in right here on the other side of the comma in for that f. So that F means format this thing, and I'll tell you in a second what it is. And then after the comma, we go, it's num1. So that's the first thing to know is the arguments go here on the right-hand side of the comma operand. In this case, it is not a comma separator. It is a comma operand. Here, inside of the double quotes, these are things that I want printed out to the output window. So you will in fact have these double quotes here because that indicates that this goes to the output window. All of your formatted printf statements begin here. Quite frankly, can I say that they begin with these 3 characters? After printf, you've got your open ellipse, your double quote, and your percent sign. That's how they are, all of them, going to start. Here, that number indicates the width. You'll recall from back in I believe it's 3.10, it's 4 pages past wherever 3.10 begins. Please go check the the book portion videos above that will have the page number in it. I do not have a tablet with me now to check the textbook. Remember that there's a graphic in there that tells you what the order of these is. But I can tell you this one here, that 8 is 8 characters of display width right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters of display width. Point 2, that means show me 2 decimal places. F means this number is going to be number 1, num2, num3, is going to be slotted in here for that F. And remember the \n is our new line escape sequence. That means print this new line here so everything shows up on one line. And essentially when these 6 lines of code are executed, what we will see is this block right here. We will see a nicely formatted block of text that is 8 characters wide per line. It is 2 decimal places of specificity, and that's what we have indicated here with the %8.2f is formatted 8 characters, 2 decimal places of specificity with num1, num2, num3, num4, num5, and you guessed it, num6. Now, what we can do with this is create, bar charts and graphs and things of that nature, and you can see that right here with the next code block that we have here. So each one of these printfs includes 2 arguments. So that's everything to the right-hand side of the comma operand. So num1 rather, and num2 slot in here for num1 and here for num2. We can see that here in the next line. Here's an F, there's an F. Here's our first argument, there's our second argument. First argument, first F, second argument, second F. Just so that you're damn sick of it to hear me say it again. Here we are inside of our printf. We have F the first, F the second, which map to first argument to first F, second argument to second F. This time, really, the only thing that we have done here is add back some of the material that you will have seen from chapter 2. We have the plus operator. So this is the concatenate operator. It will put this in the output stream and this in the same output stream. And that's actually what we're seeing here on each one of these lines. So here, I've got 2 new line characters. Those are the 2 new lines you see right here. I've got my formatted output 127.90 in 8 characters across for that field. And to that, I'm going to add 8 characters across in this field. The \T, you'll remember, is a tab. So it moves 1 tab stop over, which actually only turns out to be, see that black space right there? That's the next tab index. So it doesn't really give us a ton of space, but it gives us a little bit more space. So then I'm saying that space is 8 characters across. It is .2. That means 2 decimals of specificity, formatted F. So that's the second one, num2, which goes right there. So that's essentially the first portion here of formatting. I do have this little line of code for you down here. So we want commas to separate the numbers. I've added for you here the comma separator, which if we run this again, we're going to see like 3,465 dot. Let me fix that error. So what the error is saying here is that I did not correctly identify the argument list here. And that is true because right here I should have put those outside of the quotations. So let me pause you guys here. I'll fix that and we'll run it again. I made a much different error. I saw 2 quotation marks here. I actually counted 3, so I saw the wrong thing. Actually, what I had was a print line. Print line will not work there. That was what the error was. And actually, if I would have read the error, so I'm going to put that back in so I can display my error. So yes, just in case you were curious, I make mistakes too when I go through and put these together for you. You can actually see it says right here, line number 28, no suitable method for print line string comma double, which means this method system.out.println doesn't accept arguments. And if I'd have looked at that a little closer, I'd have said, yeah, dummy, that doesn't accept arguments because printf does. So all I did was I removed those 2 characters, println, and I put in an f, and boom, everything worked again the way I expected it to. So this time around, here we go. Now with commas to separate numbers, I have num7, which is this big number I have for you here, and we can see that there are comma separators in there because I have %, comma, dot to f for comma separated format with 2 decimals of specificity for numeric, well, not numerals, but for decimal numbers there. So you'll get the hang of these. It's this part I feel always that, why is that the way that we format these strings? And it's like I said in the example from before. Is there a reason that 1 goose is a goose and 2 gooses are not 2 gooses, it's 2 geese? Yeah, there's probably a reason that has to do with English and French and Germanic languages all mixing together and having a reason to have 1 goose is goose, 2 gooses is geeses. And this has the same story, which at the end of the day is faster if I just say, if it's 1, it's goose. If it's 2, it's geese. Just memorize this and you'll be happier. So just memorize this and honestly, you'll be happier.